it's Sarah, your career and leadership expert, and I think tonight is the last night of my confidence series. It's a very popular topic. I've had several calls this week, and whilst they might be about career, we very often get into imposter syndrome and confidence issues. So it's a really, really common theme. And I think as I've described throughout the videos that I've done before, confidence isn't something that's either on or it's off. Hi Belinda. Sometimes it's something that there's just certain situations that we feel more confident in, and there's certain situations that we've learned to be confident about. So this evening, I know it's really boiling hot, you're probably all dying to get down the pub or do something at a safe social distance, of course. I'm going to share a few more tips with you that might help you with confidence. So you can replay these videos. They are on my Facebook page under videos, and if you scroll down the post there's about 4 of them, and then next month I'm going to be covering a whole heap of different topics as well that people have asked me about. They're also going to be on YouTube, so if you check me out on YouTube, Sarah J Coaching, my videos are all on there under Facebook Live, so they're all there for you if you want to go back and listen to some of the tips, okay, because I know I tend to pack a lot in. Okay, so let's get going. So right, previously we've talked about, hi Toby, how are you? Did you go shopping the other week? It's too hot for shopping tonight, Toby. I'm going to be sitting outside with a large glass of wine, I'm afraid. Don't judge me. At a safe distance, of course. Anyway, alcohol and confidence is something else. I think alcohol and recklessness go hand in hand sometimes too. You know, sometimes people like to have a little drink to give them confidence, but we have to watch that one, and that's certainly not something I'm recommending this evening. So, okay, packed in loads of stuff, talked about different situations, what can we beg, borrow, steal, talked about the fact that confidence, despite what we think, isn't always something we're born with. Yeah, tell me about it. I think it's like 34 degrees down here, Toby. I mean, I love the heat, but it's just a bit too much for me. Anyway, so I've actually got the blind down because it's like... Anyway, so we've talked about how confidence is very variable in certain situations, how you can beg, borrow and steal things that you've done confidently somewhere else and apply that to another situation. We've talked about visualizing doing something like athletes do, step by step, bit by bit, playing it like a mind movie because our mind believes what we tell it. We've talked about rewiring how we talk to ourselves and making sure we're not being critical, we're not beating ourselves up. We've talked about the little confidence audit checklist that I've got that some of you have asked for, and I've sent it out. I think I've posted it on social media. Gives you a nice little snapshot of where you are. We've talked about the fact that staying in a situation that's no longer serving you erodes your confidence and self-esteem over time. So I work with a lot of people that are in leadership positions or looking to change their career, and on some level they're scared to admit it, but they've kept themselves stuck for a very long period of time. And that's, you know, sometimes that just happens. It takes us a long time sometimes to make a change because it's scary, and that does erode their self-confidence over time. The longer you put up with something and tolerate something, it really does erode. So I think, you know, you need to watch that. We talked about mindfulness, like stopping the day running around with you, stopping and thinking. We've talked about how you can sort of dress the part. If you're going to speak at a conference or you're going out somewhere, you know, making sure you dress the part, you look good, you feel good, you know, you look in the mirror and think, yeah, I'm amazing, and you have that confident body pose. We talked about the power pose with the hands on the hips and the body posture. We talked about getting out of comfort zones and setting a little confidence goal. So those are some of the things I've covered over the last few weeks. And then just to sort of wrap up this month of confidence boosting, we talked about visualizing events, things you're doing. So if you're an athlete, you'd be visualizing taking a step up to the start line, seeing yourself winning, etc, etc, etc. So that's what they do with events, but you can do that about yourself as a person. So you can almost sort of sit there quietly and mindfully, closing your eyes, getting some nice oxygen flowing around your body, which is great. It feeds all our organs and it gets rid of that stale, horrible breath that kind of makes us feel a bit bleh at times. Deep breathing is a brilliant thing to do at any time to sort of reinvigorate yourself, and just visualize yourself, in it might sound a bit weird, but surrounded in a white light or a golden light, you know, and just go with it. I know for some people visualizing themselves can be quite challenging, but the more you do it, the more you get used to doing it. And that golden aura really kind of is something that I've used with my clients, and it really gets them feeling like they are precious like gold, that they are individual, that they are, like I say, precious, and visualizing yourself, visualize yourself looking lovely, amazing, however that looks for you, however you feel good. It might be something you're doing, but just visualize yourself looking really amazing. And you can even run some affirmations saying, I love myself, I love myself. I mean, you know, one thing you can do that's fairly simple whilst you're getting ready is to look in the mirror and go, oh, I love myself, I love myself, 70 times, 7 days a week if you're struggling. It's a really good practice, because once we start embedding some of these habits, they become like second nature. Hi Mickey, how are you? You've been busy. Mickey's on, hang on a minute, let me get this right. My House, I think it's My House FM. So he's a brilliant DJ if you like Soulful House. He's your man, Mickey C. Hi Joanna, hi Joe, nice to see you. What are you doing? You should be in the pub. Anyway, so what else can you do? I've talked about, you know, sometimes when we're not feeling very confident, we get stuck in our own heads and we overanalyze ourselves. It's like, well, should I do this? Should I say this? Should I do that? Blah, blah, blah. And do you know what the simple solution is? Forget about it. Focus on other people, as I've mentioned. Get out of your own head. Focus on being in the experience. So say you're in a party, or you're going to a party, obviously at social distance these days, and you're sort of feeling a bit nervous, maybe you don't know anyone. Just, you know, just speak to someone. Start small. Just kind of push yourself a bit out of that comfort zone. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Mickey. Yeah, I had a good night's sleep last night. I don't know about tonight though. Anyway, yeah, so think about other people, because I hate to break it to you, not everybody is thinking about what you're thinking. Not everybody's really focused on you. And I know that sounds maybe a bit harsh, and it's difficult to sort of think that when you are really self-conscious or not feeling confident. But believe you me, as human beings, guess who we're focused on? We are focused on ourselves a little bit. So unfortunately, other people aren't thinking about you perhaps as much as we think. And, you know, people, we like to help other people. We like to see other people succeed. So, you know I've had things on, when I've done things on stage, you know, I was introduced as a speaker. It was like in a massive audience, and he kept calling me by the wrong name. So I just made I felt embarrassed, and I thought, hang on a minute, Sarah, you can't let this knock your confidence for your speech. So I thought, well, what have I got? Good sense of humour. So I called him the wrong name. I think his name was Desmond, and I called him Derek. So that seemed to get a laugh. So kind of getting out of our own way is what I'm saying. So getting out of our own heads, and remembering not everybody's like thinking about what we're thinking, worrying about what we're doing. Here's another one. Okay, maybe it's because it's Friday and I'm going out this evening, but laugh at yourself. Honestly, we take ourselves far too seriously. And like I said, everybody, especially at the moment, has got their own things going on. We're all busy in our own little world sometimes. Just laugh at yourself, because guess what? Even those people, like I was talking about Jennifer Lopez the other week, you know, like major superstar, I've read about her. She's had massive bouts of issues of self-confidence, and we all have them. None of us are perfect, and I mean, what's perfect anyway? So just try and laugh at yourself. Okay, so this is quite a while ago. I think it's about 10 years ago, and I was on a date, and I was feeling a bit nervous, I must admit. Hi Joanna, how are you? I was on a date, and I was so focused on myself and wanting to impress the other person that I went to go to the toilet, and I walked into a broom cupboard. And there was no way for me to get out of the broom cupboard other than backing out. And I'm not a very good moonwalker, so it was a bit clumsy, and I'm pretty sure a broom started falling out as well. So I just learned, you know what, sometimes don't take ourselves so seriously. And in fact, that kind of endeared me to the person. I don't think it went anywhere, so maybe it didn't. But what I'm trying to say is, you know, don't take ourselves so seriously. Go, do you know what? I'm not perfect, so what? As long as you're not harming anyone, let's lighten up a bit. Let's not take ourselves so seriously. You know, we may want things in life, we may want goals, we may want dreams, we may want plans, but let's enjoy it. Hi Danny, how are you? I take it you finished for the day. That's my brother. You can't be at work then. So let's like not take ourselves so seriously. Let's just lighten up and go, do you know what? And I'll take it even a step further. Maybe look at the last few times when you've not felt so confident, or you felt a bit self-conscious, a bit of a muppet or something like that. Just laugh. Go, do you know what? That time I walked in the broom cupboard, that was really funny. And sometimes it's about how you handle the situations. Now, I know for some of you, if you are really struggling with self-confidence, that might be a leap too far. But honestly, get outside your own head and like, don't get so hung up on yourself. Don't take yourself so seriously. Just relax. And if you can do things like mindfulness, meditation, yoga, stuff that gets us out of our own head and lets those thoughts sort of like go away like clouds, that's really, really helpful, because, you know, mindfulness is just booming, as you will have seen, because it's all about just stopping, being present and thinking, let me take a deep breath. Okay, so say I'm writing something, I'm really focusing on what I'm writing. You know, you just focus on the moment rather than letting that kind of, what often happens is this script starts running, going, well, if this happens and this happens and this happens and this happens. Now, sometimes it's always good to think about a situation and think, okay, so say like Mickey, I don't know if you do this, but I know you like really work on your playlists, you know, you're prepared, you know, you think about things in advance. When I'm going speaking, I've prepared my script, I've practiced it in front of someone, you know, if I'm on a big stage doing a big conference. So it's always good to listen to where you can prepare for something, but don't like overanalyze it. Try and, if that script is flipping and saying, do you know what, I'm not very confident, I'm not very good at this. I mean, why am I doing this? I mean, who's going to listen to me? Who's going to be interested in me? We need to stop that. That's when it's chronic and it needs to be flipped around. And there's a lot of inner work there about rewiring how you talk to yourself, because your inside voice, your inner voice becomes your outside actions, because it feeds into that computer called our brain and it goes through our body, and that kind of thinking, as scientists are now showing, embeds itself in all of our cells, and it's like thoughts, feelings, behaviours and actions. So if there is something, flip the switch, that's not even a word, the switch, flip it and say, I am becoming more confident. I'm going to choose to be more confident today. And as I mentioned last week, you know, just use those words, write them down, record them on your phone, just keep saying them to yourself, say it in front of the mirror. People find that really, really challenging, but if you can talk to yourself and say nice things to yourself in front of the mirror, you're halfway there, because a lot of people can't do that. And do that thing that I mentioned last week, challenge yourself. I'm going to do something outside of my comfort zone today. Now that might be, I don't know, going for a run, speaking to a stranger in the supermarket, being friendly. You know, it doesn't have to be massive. It can be do something quite small. So question, when you get those phrases that make you feel a bit negative or hold you back a bit, stop and question them and go, okay, what can I choose to think instead? Because out of all the coaching that I do, leadership, careers, you name it always comes down to mindset. 9 times out of 10, what we tell ourselves limits ourselves, and it will limit our self-confidence, okay? So, and building on this, we've talked about role models, talked about that as well. What else can I offer you today? You could go further than going outside the comfort zone and actually choose to do something that scares you, you know, because I've found, as long as I'm not taking obviously a massive risk in my own health and safety, I thought, you know what, I'm going to do this. I might prepare for it, you know, so things like, I know my sister's done it as well, like skydiving. I did a bit of research before I did that, because even though it was in a tunnel, I was like, not sure about this, because heights, you know, going up in heights isn't always, you know, something I'm more comfortable with. So I thought, I'm going to challenge myself to do it. And when I went to do bungee jumping, I didn't feel comfortable about that, or too confident. So I built up to it slowly. I sort of jumped off, like some shorter platforms and practiced it first. And actually what I found was, and I don't know if you guys have ever found this, very often our lack of confidence comes from like taking the first step. Sometimes we're just scared of taking the first step. Oh, here we go. Mickey's just saying about always prepare music for my radio shows. It's important to have an idea of what I'll be playing. Yeah, totally, because it's really important. Yeah, because you're thinking of other people. You're thinking of your audience rather than, oh gosh, you know, am I this, am I that? You're thinking about the people that are going to be listening to your show. So that idea of getting outside of your own head is really important. Something else you can do, some of these are like small little tips, but they really work. Compliments. Okay, who has a problem giving or receiving compliments? Because many of us do. So what happens is somebody would sometimes, and I mean, I've done it myself on occasions, when somebody pays you a compliment, we can be very quick to go, oh no, you know, you don't mean that, or oh, this old thing, you know, something like that. And actually what that does is it kind of makes the other person feel really uncomfortable. It kind of breaks the connection, if you like, because they want to say something nice about you. And actually the charitable thing to do is accept that compliment. And when we sort of say, oh no, you know, what, me? It kind of makes people feel uncomfortable, and it might sort of affect the kind of energy in that relationship. So as difficult as it is, when somebody pays you a compliment, just look at them, take a minute, take a deep breath and go, thank you. That's all you need to say. So when you're getting compliments, as I'm sure you will do, take those compliments, yeah, and really listen to them. And also, what you could also try doing is giving compliments. You know, not many people do it, actually, and it will make you stand out with people. And I'm not saying giving like random compliments, but actually something that's quite meaningful. You can say, oh, that dress looks really nice, but you could say, wow, that dress looks really nice, that colour really suits you, it brings out the colour of your eyes, or I really like the way you designed that business project, I can see that you've thought about da 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 da. So it has some meaning attached to it. So maybe like that could be a confidence challenge for you, is to like give somebody a compliment, you know, and learn to receive compliments yourself. The other thing is as well is, as I've mentioned before, very often we get wrapped up in our own heads, okay, and we're overanalyzing and thinking, what about me, oh my goodness, I'm not feeling so confident, along with all the other tips that I've shared with you over the last 3 weeks or so. Best thing to do, one of the best things to do is actually care about somebody else, do something for somebody else. Oh my God, we just need, like I said before, we just need to get out of our own heads sometimes. We're all guilty of it. You know, I have times when I'm running around being busy and I'm like, whoa, Sarah, you just need to stop, slow down. You're kind of getting in your own head a little bit here. Just stop, take a breath. And that's just me sometimes when I get busy. But one of the things we can do is really care for other people, show that we care, do something for other people, because, and this isn't designed to sound selfish, but it will, in return for you doing something for somebody else, you are obviously doing something for somebody else, but you will get a lot back from that. And that's not doing things to be selfish and get something back. There is nothing wrong with that, because that other person is still getting something wonderful from you, you know, whether that's dropping off shopping, whether that's mowing somebody's grass, you know, and it's just a really powerful way to build your self-confidence if it's not something that you've ever done before, okay? And what you can do as well, I don't know if any of you do like SWOT analysis at work in terms of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, things like that. You could even have a look at that in terms of confidence, and hopefully what I'd like you to do is really think about your strengths. Keep them on your iPhone or your smartphone, or you can record them on your iPhone or whatever, or keep a list of them. The more that you notice, I haven't got it here anymore, but I used to have a really good example of one. The more that you notice about your strengths and what you like about yourself, it's like magnets. It's like attaching to a magnet, because you're gearing your mindset to notice what you like about yourself and what your strengths are. Now you can look at the weaknesses and sort of say, okay, let's have a look at some of those skills, for example, in my job, or some some areas that I feel that I want to work at and I perhaps would really benefit my career or benefit my relationships. You know, do I need to communicate better with my partner? Do I need to be like having a better relationship with my boss and managing upwards? You know, something like that. And have a look at those areas as areas for development, and then look at the O, which is the opportunities to develop them, and then the threats is almost like what's going to get in the way of me improving those areas where I may need to like boost my strengths. So it's about working on the weaknesses. We've all got things that we're less good at, and finding the opportunities to do them and what could possibly get in the way of doing them. But the longest list, I want it to be your strengths. And you know, it's amazing. I do this regularly myself, and I do it with clients a lot as well, in terms of I ask them as homework. It might work for some of you, it might not. Not every tool works for everybody, but you can get a nice piece of card and have a photo of yourself in the middle, because it really amplifies it. If you stick a photo of yourself in the middle and then just start, you know, however you want to do it. You could even do it on a PowerPoint if that's your thing, or if you don't really work with pictures, do it on your iPhone or piece of paper. Writing is always good, it gets it out of our head. Have your picture in the middle if you're going to do it this way. Nice piece of card, nice piece of paper, and just write all around there your strengths, and keep doing it and keep doing it, because you might think, oh, I've run out of things to write now. But because it's almost like rebooting a computer, if you start thinking in that way, you'll attract more of these thoughts. And these thoughts and beliefs, as I've mentioned, fuel our feelings, fuel our behaviours, and our behaviours then dictate some of the results that we get in our life. So you can see how important it is to really calibrate your mind, to be focusing on your strengths. So it's really important. And then when you know what your strengths are, you can play to them. So it's like, say you're running a business and you're thinking, do you know what, I'm really good at the big picture thinking, but I just don't enjoy the detail. I can do it, it's not my strong suite. Is there somebody else that can help you do that? So play to your strengths. And remember that self-confidence is something that goes up and down at several times, because there's a difference between self-confidence and arrogance, and sometimes questioning ourselves might be around some preparation we need to do, but ultimately self-confidence is about our belief and understanding that we trust our own judgment. On a fundamental level, we trust our own judgment and our abilities, and that we value ourselves and we believe in ourselves, and we believe that we deserve good things. We believe we are worthy, independently of what other people think. You know, let's just get, you know, we're not going to be right for everybody. Not everybody's going to like us. And do you know what? I think there's a load of freedom in that, because when you start realising that, you don't kind of worry so much or get het up. That's not saying you go around and treat people like, I was going to swear then, but garbage. That's not what I'm saying. But release the need to be liked by everyone, because you're never going to please everyone. Some people, you know, I've known people that have been running teams and they are the loveliest people you'll ever meet, and some of their team don't like them simply because they're the boss. You know, that sometimes comes with the territory. But have confidence in yourself. As long as you know you're solid, as long as you're living by your own values, you're treating people in the way that you would like to be treated, that gives you a lot of self-confidence, because you know that you are acting according to your values, what you believe in. We don't always get things right. We all make mistakes. We all mess up. And it's about, and self-confidence is about admitting that and rectifying that, rectifying what you might call those missteps or mistakes. And I've mentioned before, you know, if we have got faults or weaknesses or things that hold us back in self-confidence, just laugh about it. Let's not just take things too seriously sometimes. But as I mentioned, self-confidence is about understanding and valuing your own judgment, your own values, and your abilities. That, do you know what? Even if I feel a little bit less confident in this situation, that doesn't mean I'm a non-confident person. That does not, it's not about me in my entirety. What does it mean? It might mean I need to prepare for my presentation. It might mean you know, I need to speak to more strangers at parties or things like that. It might mean I need to push myself a little bit out of my comfort zone. It's, you know, it's about understanding that just because you don't feel confident in a certain situation, it doesn't mean that you're completely non-confident person. Now, if you do feel like that, that's where a bit of additional help may need to come into play. And it may be, as I say, if you've been putting up with a situation such as a relationship that's not working well for you, or a job that's not working well for you, then that will erode your self-confidence over time. And what happens is, what I find is when people come and talk to me is they can't see the wood for the trees anymore, because they've eroded what self-esteem they had, what confidence they had, and they're just very, very confused. So yeah, tonight was just the final live on confidence for a while. I've got another live next Friday. I'm doing them every Friday at about 5:30. I post them to my page and they're on YouTube as well. So this has all been about confidence. So to remind ourselves, it's not something that's either on or off. We can be somewhere in between. And sometimes what happens to us in life, environmentally or with relationships or with our careers, it can dent our confidence. But true confidence is about being able to say, do you know what, that wasn't great, but I believe in myself to pick myself up. We've talked about accepting compliments, saying thank you, about giving compliments, doing something outside of our comfort zone, how to help other people, how to really identify your strengths and the areas you want to build up with, and that exercise with the diagram, and how to visualize yourself as a confident person, as well as all the other tips I've shared over the last 3 weeks. I reckon I've shared about at least 10 to 15 different ways that you can really unleash your confidence. And yeah, it's just, and sometimes, as I say, let's not take ourselves too seriously. We're all work in progress, you know, and sometimes it's about looking at those situations and thinking, okay, I didn't feel confident there, but I feel confident here. So what is it about here that I'm doing that I can apply over there? And maybe identifying the different steps to prepare for something if it's something you don't feel confident about. Crippling self-confidence is something completely different. That is something completely different and needs a lot more intervention and work, because that's something far more deeper about past history and things like that. But generally speaking, confidence is something that kind of ebbs and flows over time, you know, and it is about, ultimately, confidence is about saying, well, do you know what, even if that didn't go as I wanted, hey, I learned something, I'll be fine, I'll crack on with it, and things will work out for the good in the future. So yeah, so that's confidence. I was going to say 101, but it's about 104 because I've done 4 different videos. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to post it on my page afterwards, and check out my events page on my Facebook page for the future topics that I've got coming up. I do a couple, I've started doing a couple of just when I feel like it, Instagram lives, playing with that now, so watch this space. And if you've got any questions on confidence, if you'd like access to any of the tools that I've described over the last few weeks, or my confidence quiz, if I can call it that checklist about where you feel confident and don't feel confident, because sometimes when it's in front of you on paper it's easier to handle because you can see it, then please get in touch, drop me a line on here. And if you've got any subjects that you'd like me to cover, let me know in the chat on this video, or you know, drop me a note. Toby, I'm just reading your comment. Yeah, totally, and it's very natural, Toby. And it is a really difficult thing. I mean, you could like practice just standing in the mirror and giving yourself compliments like I was talking about. People find that really challenging. And it's not about saying, huh, you know, do you remember that film Anchorman, Ron Burgundy? I'm kind of a big deal around here. It's not about being arrogant or cocky. It's actually just being really healthy and full of self-esteem and confidence. And, you know, when you're open and focusing on other people, noticing other people, rather than being in your own head, it really boosts relationships, and it can boost results like career, things like that. I've seen that happening a lot because we're not sort of sitting there over analysing ourselves. So totally. Thanks for saying you like the dress. I like it too, thank you. Are you going shopping again this weekend, or is it too hot? Up in Manchester. Oh gosh, I think I'm going to be sitting in the garden over the weekend. So I've booked myself a workshop tomorrow. Why did I do that? I need to look at the weather forecast rather than be sitting in front of my computer. So yeah, anyway, thank you for all your comments. Drop me a note if there's anything you'd like me to cover. No subject is too big or too small. So yeah, have a great weekend everybody, and thanks for tuning in and watching. Have a good one. Enjoy the sun. Bye. Don't forget your sunscreen. Bye. Yeah, I hear you, Toby. It's just not the right place to be when it's hot like this. Yeah. My laptop is going to be firmly on my lap in the garden this weekend at this workshop. Might have to turn the video off. Not really. All right then, take care. Bye.